everyone, it's Meg, and today we are going to do a bit of a chit chat, a bit of talking about some books, and also a bit of skincare. So as you can see, I'm in a different location. I'm in well, it's not my bathroom, it's the main bathroom. My bathroom's not got very good light, so we are in here, and I wanted to do kind of a chit chat sort of video where I've recommended some books to you guys and do my skincare for a while, and I was just really in the mood to do it today, so that's what we're going to do. So today I'm going to specifically talk to you guys about some books, like some comfort reads that are going to make you feel really good and fuzzy and are just really great escapes for the time that we are currently in. Especially, obviously they are great at any time, but I feel like these are books that I would definitely turn to at times like this. I may even reread some of them whilst everything is going on right now. So yeah, I thought I'd do that and show you guys my skincare routine, because even though I have showed it in some vlogs fairly recently, it's not been like as recent, so that's what we're going to do today. So I hope you enjoy it, this different style video. So without further ado, let's get sorted. So I'm going to put my fringe back first, and I do not look attractive with my fringe back. I do not like it, and also I don't always pin it back with a pin, but for the factor that if I don't, it sticks up like attractive. Like, look at that forehead. Nobody ever sees that forehead. And I'm also going to put this back so I do not look like a beauty guru at all. I do not know how people make this look attractive. Like, if they could tell me, that would be great. So just before I start off with my skincare, I will recommend the first book, which is The Upside of Falling by Alex Lights, and I have read this fairly recently. I did a reading vlog for it, so I will link that in the description if you want to go and check it out. And it is just a really cute, fun YA contemporary romance about two people called Becca and Brett, and they end up fake dating because they want to get their friends off their back about the fact of being single. And it's just such a cute read and so fluffy and fun. There is baking in this as well, which is what I really love, and it's just one of those books where I flew through it so fast. Like, it's under 300 pages, so it is fairly short, but it was just so fun and just so cute and just so easy and enjoyable, and that's what I loved about this book so much. So this is probably my first recommendation on here, and I definitely recommend this. It's just so much fun and just such an easy read, especially for kind of the time like this. So I'm going to start off with Cleansing My Face with Herbalism by Lush, and I do usually use Angels and Bare Skin, but I tried this and I think I prefer Angels and Bare Skin. I have dehydrated to dry skin, by the way. I have more dehydrated, I think. So I'm going to do a bit of this, which is green, so my face is going to be green in a minute. Put this on. I'm just going to wet it because I'm not near the sink. Might get this everywhere, but like, you know, we're going to work with it. I probably should have picked my next book up. Oh god, that wasn't clever, was it? Right, before I drop all this, the next book is True Love at the Lonely Hearts Bookshop by Annie Darling. I'm going to put that down now, because otherwise I'm going to get skincare all over it. But this is an adult contemporary romance, and it's another fake dating story, which apparently I have been really enjoying, even though I say I don't enjoy contemporary romances. And if you're wondering why I'm not putting this on my forehead, it's because I've got a really horrible dry patch at the moment and it's not going away. And I don't think it likes the cleanser, so I'm leaving my forehead. But that is such a cute book. It's very funny. It's about a girl named Verity who is in her late 20s, and she works in a bookshop with her friends, and she has a very needy cat. She's very much an introvert, and one day she goes to a restaurant and there's a bit of miscommunication, and she ends up fake dating this guy named Johnny, and it is obviously basically about that. It's kind of similar storyline to The Upside. It's unrequited in the fact that it's fake dating, and obviously no spoiler, but you know how it would end. But it's so funny. It's a British author, so you're going to get that British humour through, and again it's really easy and charming. The characters are wonderful. I love the characters, and there's kind of a Jane Austen-esque vibe in it as well, because Verity loves Jane Austen and she's always quoting her, and it's just so fun. I just really enjoy it, and again, like I said, laugh out, funny, easy read that is just really wonderful for when you are needing something on the lighter side. I'm going to go and wash this off now, and I forgot my flannel. It's in my bathroom, so I'm going to have to go and get it. Okay, face is clean, so before I do anything else, the next book that I have is The Lido by Libby Page, and this is the last book that I finished from when I'm filming this video, and oh my god, this is so wonderful. This is one of my favourite books of the year now, and this, I have read Libby's other book, so I would recommend both of them, but this is about two characters, which are 86-year-old Rosemary and 26-year-old Kate. Rosemary has been to the Lido for the past 80 years since it opened. She has gone pretty much every day, and Kate is a journalist, and basically the Lido has been threatened to close, so Kate starts to interview Rosemary and get to know her to write an article or a series of articles about the closure of this Lido, and this is just such a feel-good book. It's just so lovely. I love Libby's writing so much, and it's just a really lovely book about community and friendship, female friendship specifically, and it does have you tugging on your heartstrings a bit, especially towards the end, but it's just so lovely, it's so easy, it's so enjoyable. Like, I couldn't get enough of it once I got into it. It was just so lovely, and I just adored it so much. So again, this is another one I definitely recommend. It is just absolutely wonderful. And if you want something that's just going to make you feel like nice and warm and fuzzy inside, definitely recommend this book, and just everything about it is so wonderful, so obviously it has to be on this list. So now we are going to do a face mask, and I'm going to use the Revolution Pink Clay Mask, and my skin doesn't like charcoal because it dries it out, so I'm a bit better with clay. This does dry me out a bit, but not too much. So the next book I have is actually a series, and that is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. This is actually the 6th book because I'm currently reading the 6th book. But this is just a classic series, let's be real. It is one that lots of people love. I think like people tend to read just the first book, they don't tend to carry on with the series. But like, as you can see, I've carried on with the series and I'm on the last book now, even though there are technically 2 more books that follow Anne's children, but I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on with that yet. I'll have to see until what I think at the end of the book. But obviously, if you don't know, this is basically a story about a orphan girl named Anne, and she comes to live with the Cuthberts on Prince Edward Island, and it's basically a coming-of-age story, watching her grow up and experiencing new things and all that sort of thing. And she's very charismatic and very charming, I guess, and she's very lively and all that sort of thing. She's a wonderful character, and I think Prince Edward Island is just the perfect place to escape to, especially at a time like now. It's just so wonderful. I read these books every spring because it's of the blossoms and the orchard and everything, and it's just so lovely, and I cannot recommend this series enough. It's just so lovely. I prefer the 1st and 2nd book, are definitely my favourite, but it's just so lovely and easy and charming, and again, with like most of these books, it has really wonderful characters, and you grow to really love Anne and see her grow and all that sort of thing. So I feel like that's definitely a comfort read for a lot of people. But yeah, I absolutely adore this series, and I will definitely be returning to it throughout the rest of my life once I have finished it. Next up I have another classic, which is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and obviously this is a classic. I feel like a lot of people will have read it. If you are watching this video, I'd like to think quite a few of you might have read it, but if in case you don't, it's basically about 2 twins, and it's basically about their first year of university, and there is one called Ren who's a lot more outgoing, and then there is Kath, who is very much an introvert. She struggles with anxiety, and she writes fan fiction for something called Simon Snow, which is kind of like Harry Potter, and it's basically about their first year at university, and it's so lovely, this book. Like, I'm not that interested in the fan fiction bit personally, but again, it's just such a charming book. It's one of those ones where I could not stop smiling throughout it. The characters are wonderful. I love the love interest in it as well. And like, the story is just lovely. It's like a very coming-of-age story. I feel like it's a story that a lot of people can relate to. And yeah, it's just so charming and funny and just wonderful. You know, like all of these books, I feel like I'm going to say the same thing about it, but it's just such a comfort read. And even though it's over 400 pages, I think it's actually a really quick read. So another one I will definitely recommend. And as you can see, my mask is starting to dry now. So whilst we wait for it to dry, the next one is Heartstopper, series by Alice Oseman, and obviously this is another classic. And in case you don't know what this is about about two boys named Nick and Charlie who go to an all-boys school, and one day they start a friendship and then it kind of kindles into a romance, and it's just so sweet and wholesome, and it just talks about things such as like sexuality and coming out and bullying as well, and it's just so wonderful. I'd say the first and second volume are definitely a lot lighter. The third volume, which came out in February, is definitely, wow, I look so attractive with this half drying on my face. The third volume is definitely a bit deeper and discusses a lot more serious topics that include stuff like mental health, such as self-harm and eating disorder. So just be aware of that when you go into the third volume. But it's still very cute. The third volume is still cute and wonderful, and the characters are so precious. I love the boys, and yeah, it's just so lovely. I love this so much. I have reread first and second volume twice, and I am looking to reread the third volume very soon. But this is just so cute, and obviously it's very quick, because I know maybe you're not really wanting to read something very long, or maybe you've been struggling to read at a time like this. I know some people have kind of been struggling with their concentration of wanting to read, but this is got like quite big, the graphics are quite big, and it's very easy to get through. You could get through it in like an hour or one sitting. But yeah, it's just so wonderful and wholesome, and it's definitely one of my favourite series of all time, and it's what encouraged me to get into graphic novels more, so another one I will definitely recommend. So I'm going to let this finish off drying, and then I will be back to recommend you guys the rest of the books. So face is feeling a lot cleaner. Hopefully I've not missed any bits, because it's actually a lot darker in here than you think it is from the light. But next recommendation is The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet by Bernie Sue and Kate Rorick, and I haven't talked about this book on my channel for a while. It is one of my favourite books of all time, and it is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, in case you haven't guessed, and it's a modern day one where Lizzie is an online vlogger, and this is the book goes along with the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which is a YouTube series, and I highly recommend you go and watch that. And I love this book. If you are a Pride and Prejudice fan, I think obviously you will really enjoy this. This is one of my favourite Pride and Prejudice retellings I have read so far. It has so much more depth compared to the original novel, obviously because it's kind of more modern, and obviously the sisters have more rights and they're able to do more than they would at the time that the original book was set. But this is just so lovely. It's so funny. Like, Lizzie has always been a funny character throughout basically all of the retellings and the original story, but she is just wonderful, and I love the characters, and the romance in here is just so swoony. I feel like it's even more wonderful than the original. But this is just a book that just makes me go all wonderful and fuzzy inside. I reread it last year and I annotated it. I adored it even more than the first time that I read it, and I am really tempted to reread it for a third time, not gonna lie, but we will see. But I love this book with all of my heart. I definitely 100% recommend it, and I feel like it's a perfect book for this sort of time because it's a familiar story. Oh, I've missed a bit of stuff. I'll have to go and sort that out in a minute, but it's dropping everything. But it's just absolutely wonderful, and it also, I guess it's especially comfort because it's a retelling of a story that quite a lot of you guys I'd like to think are somewhat familiar with. So being able to read a story that you're familiar with but in like a different light, I feel like that's really wonderful when you kind of want a bit of comfort. So yeah, I really recommend this book. It's one of my top on this list. I love all these books obviously, but definitely one of the tops on my list that I recommend. It's just so wonderful, and I need to start talking about it more again because I haven't talked about it much since my channel first started. So now I'm going to tone, and I am using, this is actually empty, this is an empty Sukin bottle, but this is just cold green tea. I'm trying to make my own because toners tend to come in plastic, and I want to try and save the planet and not buy plastic, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh god. And I'm going to try and wrap this up rather quickly, get through these last books quite quickly because the light is going, and this is the best this is going to go. So I've got turnaround. Next book is I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith, another classic that I haven't talked about that often so far as like I used to on this channel. Wow, words. Again, this is a lovely story. It's very easy. There's nothing too like dramatic to it or anything like that. It's just a wonderful story about a family who live in a crumbling castle, and it is written in a diary format by our main character Cassandra, and there is two American brothers that move into the castle next door, and it's about what happens when they meet and kind of that spans of time. I don't know, I think it takes place over the summer or something like that, but it's just really lovely. I need to reread it. I have tried to reread it a while ago but didn't get very far, but I'm going to carry on. But this is just such a wonderful story again. It's just really enjoyable. The characters are nice. It's a great escapism book again, as you are in this crumbling castle in the middle of nowhere in this village with these wonderful characters, and it's just such a joy to read. Again, it's just nothing too serious, and if you are just looking for like a really easy kind of laid back read, this is definitely a good option. So now we are going to go on to a serum, and I have something else from Revolution. I don't use everything from Revolution, I just like their stuff. And this is the Revolution Gold Elixir, which is a rosehip seed oil, and again, I use it because my skin is dry. But whilst I put this on, I'll talk about my next two books, which obviously have to be on here, which are Laura Wood's two young adult novels, which are A Sky Painted Gold and Under a Dancing Star. These are definitely probably one of the top books that I have to recommend you guys, because I think they are honestly the most perfect escape books. The world building in here is amazing. They are both historical fiction. Sky Painted Gold is set in the 1920s, and Under a Dancing Star is set in the 1930s, and they both follow two amazing female characters. And I feel like one of my favourite things is, I love everything about these books, but one of my favourite things is the writing. The writing that Laura has, just, it pulls you in. Like from the first sentence, you are with these characters in the time that this book is set. You are in Italy, you are in Cornwall, you are with these characters doing the things they're doing, whether they're swimming in the sea or they're painting in the middle of the Italian countryside. Like, it's just such a wonderful escape, and that is honestly what I love most about her books. The fact of escapism, and also the characters. She has very strong main female characters in both of her books, and I adore them both a lot, especially they both kind of into like things that women aren't really allowed to do back then, like writing and science, and I just really enjoyed that. They're very independent, even though these are romance books. They're both romance books, they're both super fun and angsty, but there's a lot more to them than that, and that's what I really love about Laura's books. There's so much more to them than just the romance. Like, these are women who are independent, and they don't need a man, all that sort of thing, you know? But I just adore it so much, and yeah, these are definitely the top books that, like, they're probably the top books on this list that I'm going to talk to you guys about, because I honestly think they're highly underrated, especially on BookTube, and I just feel like more people need to read them because they are wonderful. And now I'm just using an eye cream from Sukin, which is just the antioxidant eye cream. Don't notice much of a difference, I must admit. I still got dark circles under my eyes, but we need to wrap up quick because this lighting is going. Unless if I can turn the light on. Right, I've turned the light on. It's not amazing. Like, I've got a massive shadow all over my face, but you know, we are going to try and work with it. So now we are on to the last book, and the last step of my skincare. So I'm going to moisturise, and I'm using the Revolution Nourish Boost CBD Rich Nourishing Cream, and I love this again because my skin is dry, so keeps me moisturised. And the final book that I have to talk to you guys about is Diary of a Confused Feminist by Kate Weston. This book I got an arc of it in a Book Box Club subscription box at the end of last year, and I read it. It's one of the first books that I read of this year, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It is absolutely hilarious. It is basically about a 15-year-old girl named Kat, who is just starting her year 11, her last year of high school, and it basically follows her journey of learning about feminism and what it means to be a feminist and what it means to be a woman. And this book is flipping hilarious. If you want a book that is going to make you laugh, I 100% recommend picking this book up. So this book is very funny. Like I said, there's so much humour in here, especially British humour, and even though it is hilarious, as Kate used to be a comedian, which is probably why the humour is so good in this book, because obviously she used to be a comedian, so she knows something about that. But the book does definitely have more of a serious tone on, like, maybe the last 100 pages or so, kind of similar to like Eliza and a Monster vibes, if you've read Eliza before. But it does definitely have that, even though it talks, like I said, even though it's very funny. I feel like it's a perfect book for this sort of time because it's so funny, and it's just that sort of book that you literally laugh out loud. I've never laughed so much when reading a book before, but at the same time it does definitely cover some more serious topics, such as mental health especially, and going to therapy, and it also obviously tackles feminism and periods and bullying and what it means to be a woman and all that sort of thing. And there's lovely friendships in here as well. I love Kat, and I love the involvement of her family and the support of her family, Kat's family and friends as well, when she is going through some stuff, and that is what I adore most. I just think it is an absolutely wonderful book. I haven't heard anybody talk about it on BookTube yet, but I think it is absolutely wonderful. It is one of my favourite books of the year, and I feel like it's a book that should be in schools because it is so important and it discusses so many important topics that female and teenage girls will be able to relate to, and it'll make them feel a little less alone. But yeah, I really, really recommend this book if you want a really good laugh. It is absolutely flipping hilarious, and I love it with all my heart. I have actually this is my finished copy that I have here. I do have an ARC, but this is actually a bit thicker, so I'm going to go back and annotate this at some point. But yeah, this is just so hilarious. I love it to pieces, and I definitely think more people should read it because I've not really heard anybody talk about it on BookTube since it's been released. So yeah, 100% recommend this if you want a really, really good laugh. So now we are done with my skincare. You can probably see that horrible dry lump on my head, and we are going to do this grand reveal. Woo! Crazy hair. I don't even know how well it's done. Fringe. So, fringe is looking a little unattractive, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's something very different. I just felt like doing it. It's just a really chill, sit down, chit chat sort of video, and I have really been into kind of sorting my skincare out recently because like my face is very dry at the moment, so I've been just trying to do that, and I just like doing skincare stuff and sharing it with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you liked all the lovely book recommendations that I gave you guys. I hope that you may find something in this video that you would like to pick up and read during this time, as I know obviously it is kind of scary and uncertain for everybody. We don't know when it's going to end, but I hope that you will find a book on here that will give you some form of comfort, some form of escape, will make you smile, will make you laugh. These books have all done that for me in some form of way, and that is why I recommend them to you guys, because I hope that you may pick one of these up and it will bring a little bit of joy and escapism into your life in this current situation. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and your thoughts on them, or do you have any specific books that you love that are kind of like your comfort reads that make you feel all like super warm and fuzzy inside? As obviously, as always, I would love to know. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave the links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!